What's up guys, welcome back. The fall weather is officially rolling in and there's nothing that warms the soul quite like a bowl of ramen. Today we're making one of my favorites, which is Oxtail Ramen. This recipe is absolutely packed with flavor and we're doing it in the pressure cooker so it's quick and easy. But before we get into that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right guys, meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. First things first, let's take a look at these ingredients. Here we have some beautiful oxtail. And I'm gonna start the party with a pro tip. If you have an international market near you, you can typically find oxtail for much cheaper per pound than at your local grocery store. So check that out. We also have miso paste. This is gonna add tons of flavor to our ramen broth. We have red and white. We have 2 eggs. We're gonna soft boil those because we're adults. Some beef broth to cheat a little bit, along with some better than bouillon beef base. Of course, you gotta have some ramen noodles. Then we have 1 whole yellow onion, some garlic, and some green onion. All right, first things first, we're gonna go ahead and marinate the oxtail. The first ingredient we're going in with is 3/4 cup of soy sauce. I like to use low sodium soy sauce for this recipe, since there's quite a bit of sodium in some of the other products. Next, we're going in with about 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, a teaspoon or 2 of sesame oil. Remember guys, this stuff packs a punch, so you don't want to go too crazy with it. I like to use about a teaspoon, but if you really like sesame flavor, then go with 2. 1 tablespoon each of garlic and ginger paste. You could definitely use fresh garlic and fresh ginger for this if you want to, but for convenience sake, we're going with the paste today. We do have some fresh garlic going into the broth later as well, so stay off my back in the comments. Now, a lot of traditional ramen recipes will call for fish sauce, and I personally am not a fan of that. So we're gonna break out the worst word in the world sauce. A lot of you guys might be surprised to know that there is anchovies in the ingredients of this, and that adds a lot of that umami that you would be getting from the fish sauce without the funky smell. So about a tablespoon of that. Gotta hit it with some AP seasoning or just a little salt and pepper. And then last but not least, we're gonna thin this out a little bit with some beef broth. This is also low sodium. Gonna go in with about 2 cups of that. Break out the whisk and mix to combine. And then we'll toss our oxtail in this and let that marinate, preferably overnight, but for at least 2 hours. So anywhere from 2 to 24 hours in the fridge, soaking up all this flavor. And just get them in there and get them coated. Look how nice these oxtail look. Nice and trimmed, not too fatty. If you don't have a local international market, a lot of times you can find these at Wegmans if you have a Wegmans. If not, try Costco. Or if you have a local butcher, that's a good option as well. I got these for about $9.99 a pound, which in my area is reasonably priced for oxtail right now. All right, so we're gonna get these nice and submerged in that marinade and pop that in the fridge for 2 to 24 hours. All right, so one of the most important steps anytime you're braising, slow cooking, or pressure cooking something, you wanna get a good sear or crust on the meat. That's gonna develop color, texture, and flavor. So in order to do that, we're gonna use the cast iron skillet, put it over high heat, and add about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. Once the skillet and the oil get screaming hot, we're gonna add our oxtail in batches and make sure we get a nice, deep, dark, brown color on the oxtail before they go in the pressure cooker. Now when I say screaming hot, this is what I'm talking about. Just almost enough to set your smoke alarm off. We're gonna add the oxtail right to that hot skillet. About 3 minutes per side should do the trick. All right, so once your oxtails are golden brown and beautiful, like so, we're gonna flip them over and show the same love to the other side. That, my friends, is exactly what you want to see. about 3 minutes or so per side. You don't want to overcrowd this skillet. And then we're gonna add them to the pressure cooker. One thing I forgot to mention, guys, is once you finish marinating your oxtail, you wanna dry it off before you do the searing process that we just did. Once they're nice and golden brown, we're gonna go ahead and remove them, kill the heat on the skillet, and then we're going in with our garlic, onion, and green onion. You kill the heat in advance, that way you don't scorch the veggies. Once they're in there, you know that they're not gonna burn up, you can add a little heat, maybe like a medium heat. We really just want to toast this, allow them to kind of start to tenderize a little bit. They're going to get plenty tender in the pressure cooker, obviously. We want to start releasing some of that flavor into the bottom of this skillet. We'll deglaze with that marinade liquid, along with a little bit more beef broth, and that will ultimately become the broth for our ramen that we'll be making here in just a minute. So once we give those veggies a head start, it's time to start adding flavor to the party. Going in with a nice teaspoon or two of Better Than Bouillon beef base. That's gonna amplify the beef flavor in our broth. We're also going in with red and white miso paste. If you've never had miso, you probably have and didn't realize that it's kind of got the flavor of the soup that you get when you go to a hibachi restaurant, but it adds a lot of flavor to your broth. Very common in ramen, so if you haven't tried it, definitely give it a try. About a tablespoon of each. And once you have the beef base and the miso paste in there, we're just gonna mix that together. Start breaking that up. And then we're gonna deglaze the skillet with that leftover marinade that we did not throw away. Too much flavor in there to get rid of that. The key to a good ramen is a good broth, guys, and these are some ways that you can make a delicious, quick ramen in about an hour or less, maybe an hour and a half. And it saves you a lot of money, because if you go out to a ramen restaurant, the ramen bowls these days, especially for oxtail, are super expensive. So you can make it at home, nice and easy. All you need is a pressure cooker. So as you can see, we have our leftover marinade liquid. That's going right into the skillet. We're just gonna bring that to a boil, and then we'll pour that over our oxtail once it goes into the pressure cooker, and then we'll top it with a little leftover beef broth as needed. Quick reminder, guys, that all the specific measurements and ingredients for this recipe can be found in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. So as you can see, we've loaded up the pressure cooker with our oxtail. Now we're adding in that marinade with all of the veggies, the garlic, the onion, the green onion. And last but not least, we're just gonna top this off with about 2 cups of beef broth. Again, low sodium. We got plenty of sodium in here, so no need to go crazy on the sodium with the beef broth. With about 2 cups of that, just so that it's just about submerged, like you see right here. Now we'll put the lid on and set it for 55 minutes. All right, my friends, after 55 minutes, the oxtail is absolutely perfect, falling apart, coming off the bone, super tender, as you can see. Go ahead and get a little taste test. We're not gonna let that go to waste. Man, tough to beat, perfectly cooked oxtail. We're gonna set that aside for a moment and get our ramen broth started. Easiest way to do that is to get a nice big strainer like so. That way we can strain all of the, garlic chunks and anything else that we don't want in our ramen broth. So we'll just pour this right through the strainer. Then we'll skim some of this fat off if you want to. If you don't want to, I'm not gonna be mad at you. But I'm gonna strain a little bit of it. And that will be our ramen broth. You can taste it. If it needs any additional seasoning, you can add a little salt. If it needs it, I don't think it will. But to each his own. All right, so as you can see, we've strained the liquid. We got a lot of this, onion and garlic, green onion left behind. I'm gonna take a spoonful of that and put it in my ramen bowl, but you could discard it if you want to. There is a lot of flavor in there. So I'd recommend adding it to the soup, but totally up to you. And what's left behind is this super flavorful broth. Perfect for our ramen. There is some fat at the top. We'll skim that off with a ladle. but you do want to give this one little taste test, make sure it's good to go. And now it's time to build a ramen bowl. All right, so we have our bowl that we're gonna use for the ramen. First things first, I'm going in with a big tablespoon of that onion and garlic flavor. Basically, it's turned into a paste in the pressure cooker. That's gonna enhance the flavor even more in your broth. Next up, you can't have ramen noodles without ramen noodles, right? So we're going in with our ramen. Back in the day, I used to eat 2 packs at a time, so we'll do about 1.5 packs today. The nice serving of that broth. You can just see the flavor in this broth. Oh my goodness. As much as you want, totally up to you. Allow those noodles to really absorb all of that. For the perfect soft boiled egg, I like to boil mine for exactly 6 minutes. If you want yours hard boiled, you can do it the normal way. But as you can see, 6 minutes renders a basically perfect egg. Not too runny on the yolks, just right for ramen in my opinion. And that is going right on in there. Like so. Can't have oxtail ramen without oxtail, so I'm gonna just shred some of the meat right off the bone. We'll garnish some with the bone in as well, but gotta have enough oxtail meat. You paid for it, so you might as well pile it high. As you can see, it's as tender as a mother's love. There we go. And then we'll add 2 bone-in oxtail in the back. Just so you guys know I'm not pump faking and putting short rib in there on you. Next up, we're gonna add some bean sprouts. Obviously, if you don't like bean sprouts, guys, you can leave it out. But we're gonna add some bean sprouts. And last but not least, I'm gonna add a little bit of this crispy seaweed right here in the corner. Can't go wrong with a good diced chive. Some green onion will work here as well. Add some nice color. And there you have it, my friends, oxtail ramen. This is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is get in here for a taste test. I gotta find my chopsticks. But before we dig in, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, guys, time to dig in. Look at that. You guys have got to give this recipe a try. Hold on, I'm not ready. What's up, guys? Welcome back. The fall and oxtail just so happens to be one of the most highly requested. Nothing warms the soul like a bowl of ramen. Is rolling in. Nothing warms the soul like a bowl of ramen. I would just keep it short and sweet. I'm talking too much.